House band Madcaps. Shout out to my buddy John, Christina, and drummer. Let's get with it today. Listen, we have a lot to go through. Second podcast. Today's November 2nd. We're here every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 11 o'clock. This is the new sessions, new podcast. Let's bring up disclosure. You guys know. Give everybody a minute to get in here. You'll get sent notification. I'm just going to fire it up at 11 a.m. Everybody can just look for the notification. Jump in at 11 a.m. We'll get started. We're on it by 11:05. Go 30 minutes or so. And I'm just going to do this in this fashion for the rest of the year. Get ourselves together. And I'm sure there'll be more higher production values to come soon. The only production values I really care about, though, are patterns. That's what we do here, Harmonic Patterns. It's been my work for the last 3 decades. And all the information that you want to learn and access can be just downloaded and watched over at harmonictrader.com. So again, go over to Harmonic Trader, become a basic member. That is free. Just go to the main page, sign up. And then I updated the gold membership, more information on Discord and what the premium services will be. We will be rolling out. Will be known soon. But this is all an effort to bring it together in a better forum that can connect with the larger group. You can get it to your phone. You can watch online. And really just a better dissemination of ideas like this OXT. So what is OXT? OXT was one of a whole bunch of these that did their type 2s and have absolutely taken off. I think this was an hourly. Yeah, here you go. So we posted this, I think, back about the 15th of October, maybe around the 20th here, looking at this butterfly. So OXT, we're back for the retest off of that ABCD at the HOP level. HOP stands for Harmonic Optimal Price, and that's how we look at all patterns. First reaction, and then eventual retest, no matter what. I mean, it, yes, does not play out in every instance, but this is the framework that we apply. I've developed in my subsequent books and material since the initial release of the harmonic pattern rules. That's why we're back up here at the 70 mark. So that's one of several of these cryptos that have been taking off. Today we're going to talk a little bit more than crypto. I want to talk crude oil. That's something many harmonic traders know that we've been in front of all year. Natural gas and some of those related vehicles, absolutely on the verge of a major just explosion. Hate to use that term, but that's what you have to call it. So absolutely want to just bring this together. I'm not going to be rushing anything in terms of over promotion. I think we have that core group, and then once I get that core group integrated, then we'll expand this out to the larger audience. So this is one of several that I want to update on. Of course, I think you cannot ignore this action in Bitcoin. I think most of us that are in the space realize what the deal is here. Of everyone's looking for that large move in November. 89,000 stock to flow is, I think, the only model people really know and are understanding, and they're booking on that. We're doing the harmonic pattern framework, and within that the type 1 and type 2 understanding, reaction, return, type 2 reversal. This was something we discussed last week. Again, looking for the pullback off of 66. I said as low as maybe even 52 on that, but we got this nice bat pattern, did a 1-2 move. Now 64, 60, 64, 196 is your big level. Definitely keep an eye on how it acts above, say, 65,000, because we are still looking for that larger expansion breakout. I think the weekly chart's probably the way to go. I think for those that haven't seen how we outline this pattern here, we're just simply looking for the major W formation, which lines up to be an ideal crab, like there. B point right there at about a 618, a little bit above that. Actually, the magnet is grabbing at the wrong bar, but what's most critical is looking at this 1618 range. We'll stick to that, call it 88, 89,000. Within the harmonic pattern framework, that's the larger realization. I would say that that definitely could happen in a abbreviated aggressive move. We are certainly entering into the CD leg of this crab where we see acceleration. So your 1618 is more like that. Yeah, 90. Again, depending on your data feed, check several data feeds. The other thing that we want to take a look at is really the anticipated reaction that we'll see up here. I mean, I think if you're going to go to 90, check the 100,000 level for sure. Obviously, that's what everyone's been calling for. We now have the pattern that has, if you go back and check my videos, I think as early as July, we were anticipating the C point and then saying, hey, we'll get this crab formation. And this is where we go. So look for a big rush, I think, into the holidays, end of the year. The interesting thing will be what happens up to the 1618 level at the 89, 90,000. Do we get a quick reaction and then go? Something like that. That would absolutely be fit within the expected reaction reversal framework that we see. Type 1 and then the type 2. Now today I do want to talk a little bit about type 2 reversals and why they're so important, because we've had a number of them play out, especially the stuff we've posted on Twitter, the algos, the OXT, the Chiliz, which is, again, I've talked about all of those. I've got positions in most of those. Took some profits on OXT this morning, up at that 65 and then holding another chunk. Take a look at, really quick before I get into the alts, the biggest alt of all is Ethereum. And let's start with the long-term time frame, because there's so many things playing out here from a harmonic pattern perspective. We have mentioned this before, that this is taking the shape of a deep crab pattern up at an 886, and your breakout goes minimum 1618, but we know that overshoots. The number again we like to use is 1902. That puts you up there around what, 66,000, 6,800 as an extreme target for this breakout. Now, why does this happen? Because in my opinion, with the crab formation, you're really breaking out, and this is an appropriate harmonic breakout. You're breaking out of this prior peak where it looked like, oh, maybe there's a failure, and the all-time high. Taking the shape of the W formation and you break out of both of those prior peaks, that's why you get an accelerated move. We see that in the bat pattern. We call it a BAM, a bat action magnet move. I refer to that phenomenon, that harmonic breakout. Pretty much all harmonic breakouts as BAMs like that. Maybe we could call this a CAM, crab action magnet move, but the C to D leg completion is the target. We'll talk more about that probably Thursday. A lot going on. But that's the framework of the big ones you want to look at. And then I think all of the small cap altcoins are ripe. You see OXT, I mean, that's been remarkable. Here's Chiliz, and a quick update. This had a big surge recently. This is the daily. I've talked about, yesterday I showed a few examples of crypto that were doing this W formation, the bat action magnet move. Why? Because you do have the W. You have 4 parts of the W formation. Go up, utilize the pattern as a minimum target to the 886. So Chiliz did an insane run. Actually, depending on the data feed, it kissed that 886. Now coming back, I think for a retest. That was such a just a remarkable, insane move. Look at it on a 5-minute basis. Let me bring this back into perspective. Let me go to the hourly instead. There's the hourly. So 886 hit exactly for most data feeds. The Coinbase feed was as high as 80. Again, another reason why you want to look at multiple feeds. I mean, Coinbase, a lot of people don't like Coinbase. I think you have to have maybe more than one crypto account in today's world. Now, the interesting thing on the Coinbase feed, and these green and pink arrows that we use, those are harmonic strength index arrows. I'm going with the guesstimation here that we're in an uptrend with crypto, and these altcoins are popping like that. So here's another potential setup where we have an oversold HSI signal. That's all that is, relates to there. HSI tends to go from one extreme to the next. The price will vary, but that's how that's the proprietary indicator within Harmonic Pattern Collection, and how we look at utilizing it for trends. I mean, if I'm in an overbought condition, I don't want to FOMO into that HSI. Quick shout out to everybody in the chat. Thanks everyone for being so cool. Really appreciate the community. I really think we got super quality people, every one of you. And I know everyone's from all different time frames. So again, thank you. And we're going to just, I want to make this a great experience. I want to keep it fun. I think that's one of the keys with trading. You have to keep it fun, or it's not enjoyable. So definitely appreciate it. We're going to really kind of get our momentum here this month, and then next month I've got a few things to share, a couple people I'll bring in. Good stuff. So Chiliz, get back to this, was, remember, big type 2. And retesting that was all the way back here, back in October. It was on this washout retest at 30. I know that. I'm sorry I can't come up with the pattern. I know it was on Twitter. There we go. This one, I'm pretty sure this was multiple patterns too. If I recall, this was a back-to-back. I mentioned that yesterday. Seeing a lot of really nice back-to-backs that kickstart some major trend developments. Yep, here you go. Again, folks, you can look at all of this stuff that we talked about in advance. Go to the prior YouTube sessions from the last few months. And recent weeks have been just absolutely on it and laying out the process. I think it's so important that we be able to demonstrate it in advance, what real harmonic patterns look like and how they unfold, and then how to handle them. So go back and look at that. This was a major type 2 down there at 29 cents. That we had that washout and incredibly hits the hop. That was it at 26.75. And this is, it did triple at the high, pulled back off, and now what? Another leg? Very possibly. I'm going to show one or two more that have skyrocketed, that if this is what they mean by year 4 of the crypto cycle prime time, like 2017, well, it seems like in certain regards it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy where they've got the money just ready, waiting to pile it in to realize it, to see that happen. So here's something of, maybe like something like that with Chiliz. Looking for larger targets or secondary retests. Kind of like that. Because that's really, I should do it off of the spike scam wick. Something, it's probably more like that. Just looking again, I talked about this yesterday. Size up your favorite chart, favorite crypto, look at your dailies. If they're expanding, utilize 1618 as primary targets. A lot happening there. That was, I guess that was the most recent one. We also, I haven't done anything with the Shiba Inu, but that was last weekend. And I'm not going to get into it today because I think we've got a few more to look at that are in a better spot. I'm out of that Shiba. I'm keeping an eye on it, of course, but I'm not really going to jump on it. Here's something. This fetch was another one that was a really nice check back. It looks like my screen's super dark. I don't know why. Let me check this. Take 1 minute. 1 minute. Really, I don't like the way that looks. Let me come back to this. Oh, that's why. Yeah, just get some color in there. Okay, good. That's a little bit better. Sorry, folks. You can't see these insane spike wicks. But we did have this another hourly. So if you go back to middle of October, we were talking a lot about this. We were talking about these type 2s that were coming into play. Let me go back. I think the 15th sticks out in my mind. Let me take a look here. I don't want to dig around for this one. I don't know why it didn't come up, but a lot of these have done those moves. They've done the hard pullback and now are at least triggering, coming back, retesting these initial lows. Take a look at this one. Doesn't seem like much, but one of the really nice kind of general formations is you continue to get these sweet M formations. It's probably, let me pull it off the proper short-term point. That's a Gartley at an 886. Not the prettiest, but at least the measurements, the metrics are there. And yes, you're allowed to do that as long as you're lined up with your B point and you've got your minimums, especially your ABCD. This seems to be just vacillating between how we would look at this of target 1, which is about 84, coming back down. I would, this looks like it's just ready to ramp and to go. I do want to emphasize though with all of these that if you're up 100+% in one day in a position, do consider some management. Definitely, no matter what, I think you want to be a little active in your management going forward, because there's a lot of opportunities where you spike and then you come back, retrace 50% of the move. Quite common. So it's almost a rule of thumb. You're up 100% in one day. Look to be aggressive in your management. Now, I will say that with now showing this Decentraland Mana USD having spiked remarkably. This is what I guess they're talking about. So I don't know much about this. What I did check out the software, the game long ago. I used to own this crypto. On as a side note, I think in the beginning of the year I owned a big chunk of this when it was not much, and I went to see the game. There was nothing going on. There was nobody there, and it was valued at $1 billion. So I definitely don't know about this, but again, apparently it's probably worth more than 10 where they're at now, and something like this can go to 20, can go to 30. A few of these are playing out like that. We mentioned this yesterday. Maybe Thursday I'll spend some time on looking at total crypto market cap and market cap in general, how to be thinking about some of these projects. You can look at them from a fundamental perspective. I'm considering more price. I'm looking at things that are setting up from a pattern and trend perspective, and then let me know, looking at the project, is it a 500 million? Is it a billion? Can it go to 5 or 10 billion? That's where you get these kind of moves, and I think those are real nice technical ways that help identify winners. That's just my 2 cents. OXT was one of those. I mean, this is something that's, again, I think this can go to the 886, but there's a bunch of these. We got to really kind of discern which are setting up well, which are setting up to do the run, and which are already overcooked. One or two more. I'm going to just let everybody know we're going to incorporate the gold members question and answer part of the premium service for the chat starting next week. So I'm going to be really just putting it together where I know who the members are, and we're going to give you guys ID badges and stuff like that. I know a lot of people do the tip style. I just don't think I'm going to do that. I kind of want to keep it moving and focused on a couple of distinct ideas each session, and then some questions for those that are subscribers. Everyone else, really quick, do want to say, if you're new or you're learning, take advantage of the materials. Take advantage of going to Harmonic Trader and get software trial to all of the Harmonic Pattern Collection versions. Try the Trading View. Certainly, I think that's what we're working on right now, but you go to your basic members page here on Harmonic Trader when that comes up. This is the Harmonic Pattern Collection for TradingView that we're working with right now. This is, let me bring up the chart. I wanted to look at Engine Coin here in a second, because this is another one that we talked about. And that was all the way down here like 150 back in mid-October. This is a part of that whole group of altcoins I've been referencing that I felt have much greater potential. So with crypto, we're applying it to crypto today, and I'm going to look at crude oil in a moment. But the strategies are applied to the same, in the same manner across all markets, time frames. It's just really what style of trader are you? What markets do you favor? And if crypto's running, you go with it. I mean, that's really all markets are running, but crypto, we know. So get started with the software. Go to the basic members. Here's the information of how to get with the Trading View program, and you'll get 2 weeks. No credit card, nothing required. Just download and send the information. I said this yesterday. I'm going to say it again. Go get the MetaTrader and the Trading View and work those two over the course of 30 days as you look through the books. So here are all the books. I want to open volume 3 today. We're going to crack into volume 3 for a moment, and we're going to look at type 2, how to identify a type 2. And then the other part of this is access the webinars. 2 weeks. I think, 2 weeks, and all of that is available free. That's how you get started. You might want to take a week, study, follow along with what we do, and then get the software. And then within a week or so, you're fully on board. Today, I talked about a lot of different coins that have absolutely, launched, and there's reasons why. And I want to, one of my better books, I feel, volume 3 here, goes through some of the advanced ideas of how to be looking at these retests and the 1-2 formations. Now, if I can find it. One second. All right, let's start here. I think it's a good spot. Because the key part of being able to capture as many opportunities as possible and understanding the whole framework is to know that we look for reaction first, which usually is type 1, short-lived, 30 bars, standard rules, again, with a retest. And we see that in most cases, I feel, the where we find our larger patterns, our larger, here we go, larger opportunities on what's called the type 2. And there you go. That's our, sorry, get that illustration popped. After we get that first reaction, we come back. The full type 2 reversal doesn't even begin until we have tested all the prior numbers. I'm going to go back and look at 1 or 2 of the examples that worked out that we've been following. I'm going to go to ALGO in a minute because I think that's still in development phase. But this whole sequence of what happens after the initial completion of a harmonic pattern, critical to understanding really what does happen, because this happens more than just the straight up home run scenario that I think is promoted too much out there. A lot of harmonic shenanigans going on. A lot of people just saying, oh, it's harmonic, this is harmonic, that's harmonic, and it'll go to the moon. Well, it doesn't work like that. Really important to understand that this is the sequence we typically follow, and then we look for key events at this location. That's the other part, where the whole process of that type 2 move takes longer, doesn't start until the full retest. So again, get with the basic membership. For those that are new, you don't understand what I just said, you'll learn it very quickly. You just need to know what to look at. So let me just highlight 1 or 2 things happening now. Let me go back to Algo. By the way, Engine Coin is something we talked about yesterday. I'll get to that on Thursday. I want to get to crude oil today before we get out. So Algo has been something, has Really been banging between 165 on the low side and as high as 205 on the top side. And I still think after that first thrust back from September, it's like a lot of these. You do a big surge, you pause, and then you go again. This taking a little bit longer than maybe I thought. This would be more like, I thought this would be more like Solana, or Polkadot is the other one that's really broken out. I should quickly look at that, but we're almost there. And take a look at was it the 4 hour? Yeah, this one again, back-to-back situations. We posted this. I know a bunch of people have been talking about this one on the Facebook group, and I posted this on Twitter as well. Nice, again, back-to-back, automatically generated with harmonic pattern collection. Still early in that phase. We almost got back down for a final, a third test here. You can't see it, but you do have a type 2. And let's look at how that on both of these patterns. So really nice Gartley. That's what is the current rally's been kind of rocketing off of. But even before that, we were looking at this crab pattern. Why? Because it was the first real nice pattern after the big surge. And this is how we trace it out. Were we looking for a larger move up to target 1, target 2, come back for a secondary test? And here's the key, folks, for especially those that are new. On this retest, we're looking for this green arrow. That is the confirmation. That's HSI. And that helps to kind of reaffirm what the pattern zone's telling us. I've tried to simplify it. The HSI, let me bring up the indicator itself. Okay, this is the indicator, HSI. The bottom indicator is amplified RSI. That's another proprietary indicator. It's a variation of standard RSI. Yes, you can use standard RSI. I just want to focus on just simply trying to identify this framework. It's something that the highlighting of type 1, type 2 is a functionality I am currently developing rules around so that I can literally highlight the number of bars. Because from type 1 to type 2, we know at this retest we're shooting for target 2. And if you can understand that, you understand that it's not a surprise when you see a pattern consolidate, come back, and then go. It's a very common experience for people that are new to harmonic patterns. They catch it maybe right at the numbers, and they get that quick move up, and it then comes right back down. It's because it's a reaction first, then it does the return, then we go for type 2 reversal. That's really critical stuff of understanding the framework of harmonic patterns and getting the most of positioning against these patterns, because one of the common problems I feel that people sit on their hands because they don't really understand where they are within that reaction reversal framework. Really quick before I get off of the cryptocurrency, I want to look at Polkadot, because boy, that's doing the move that we thought once it would take out the shark area, the larger implications. This could be another Solana. There you go. Oh, what happened there? Let's go to the daily first. So all along, we have really talked about this since maybe 20s, 25. Check the videos from like July and August. Gunning for minimum 886 retest. That was 44. Now 52. So that this is a shark formation, absolutely. And you can just ask yourself, okay, what's it doing at this level? Little pause, harmonic pause, now major breakout. That's the kind of awareness, recognition, again, where you say that's at a strong point, even though it's rallied quite a bit. Now up, what, 500% off the low since July? 400%. This is a larger breakout in development. Absolutely. Maybe we get some kind of minor pullback, but again, we want to default to weekly time frames because that's what really is happening here. This is it's about these larger weekly time frames. If this is going to go, you're in the I feel a word people are going to be using so much, price discovery. Here you go. And how do we look at from a harmonic level? How do we have a clue where this thing is going? Well, minimum would be some kind of ABCD. That's our minimum framework structure, somewhere where around it is right now, 54. But we know this thing's huge strength at the 886. And again, I've said this before about all these altcoins that are doing this type of move. How it acts at this 886 is going to tell you a great deal of how far it can go. Within the harmonic ratios of how we look at each level within the harmonic ratio scale, if you will, is saying minimum 1618 extension. That puts you, what, 65? And if we're really crazy, well, we use the pi 314. Oops, sorry. This mouse is terrible. Oh, 115. A little bit lower than where it is. 314, folks. That's in a crazy spike scenario, but why not? Because if we're just assessing this as a strong breakout measured move, that's how we look at the daily time frame. A lot of these just real nice. Really, really nice. Shaping up on cue, I guess. And it's November 2nd. Where will we be by Sunday? Remember, again, coming back on Thursday. It's going to be a long 48 hours. Bitcoin's now clocking at 64,000. And remember, you had some pretty remarkable closes on the week. You're not going down. We've been knocking on the door up here at 65,000 3 weeks. If that was going to get rejected down, you'd be lower than by already. This is where you accelerate, folks. This is some interesting stuff. We'll talk more about that on Thursday. I want to get to crude oil. Good question. Why 314? The 314, just as a side note, and I can bring that up on Thursday. We'll look at the scale of harmonic ratios. But again, if it's a strong breakout, which a lot of these are, we assume a 1618. That's our minimum assumption. I do look at how the indicators respond. Here's Bitcoin. Again, just as a side note, where its RSI indicator is expanding in the overbought level. That's still bullish, extremely bullish, until that gives you some kind of inflection. The fact that that's turning back up on a weekly tells you this is just getting going. If it was to reverse tomorrow, the indicator would need 3 weeks to get out of that zone. What about the 3618? Look, the pi projection is just, the 3618 is more an ancillary number. Pi projection is something where mathematically, from cycle projection standpoint, has greater value. Again, another subject we could probably dive into some detail on. I feel I utilize, and in the book, in the volume 3 book, I talk about this. I look at, try to be conservative. So I'll look at utilizing the 314 with a 2618. And that's something we can do. With all of these breakouts, when you're when it's mooning and it's going crazy and it feels like, yeah, all right, awesome. Don't forget to have a management plan. So really quick, Bitcoin 314. Sorry, let me redo this so we've got enough room to show it. So if Bitcoin gets crazy, and this is going to be the last point on the subject, but it's a strategy question. We look at, again, 1618 is our minimum harmonic assessment. Is this a breakout? Yes. Is it a strong breakout? Yes. Indicators confirm that? Yes. We'll assume so until we get up there to the minimum 1618. But if it blasts on through, which frequently does as you're en route to those numbers, you can then target up there a 314 extension of Bitcoin is 150K. Will it get to 150K? I'm not saying that. But if we get crazy and let's say you have a $5,000 to $8,000 move right through the 1618 and you find yourself blowing right through it all, well, yeah, then maybe you can bring in these larger assessments. But that's a maximum. I do look for, in terms of these extreme numbers, with all of these, I'll look at a 2618 as a minimum. Again, this material, these strategies are all laid out in the books. Look at volume 3, I think is a good one. Volume 1 has a lot of the ratios as well. But setting up, that puts you around 126. So you do have some numbers there. That 314 at 150K is interesting, but I want to be conservative. I don't want to get crazy. I think a couple of these recently have done spike moves. I talked about this Chiliz personally to gold members the other day. I wasn't able to get out. I wasn't able to flip that move. I'm still long. I think it's a great. I like the structure. I like where we're going on this, and I'll take another look up at that 886. But I was not in front of my screen, and it happened a short period of time. I didn't get my whole position out. I wanted to scalp it out, get back in. It happens. But I am just assuming the next 7-8 weeks are going to be full on, and I will be and then take a break after that. Yeah, James. Hey, James, how are you? Oh, yeah, same with the SHIB. Same with the SHIB. So I think it's, so a lot to be said for that kind of anticipation. Hey, VJ. Yeah, listen, the live trading videos of throwing up, of doing, there's a question about can we do live trading videos? Yeah, I mean, listen, I think we have to do dedicated sessions, but there's also regulation involved that I want to be super careful about. And, doing stuff like this. So here's my screen on, there's NQ. All right, that's, I'm watching the market as we're talking right now. I would like to do that with the futures at another time, but I think that might be better served in the private premium groups. I think for now, though, what we want to focus on just lining up altcoins left and right and how to handle these phenomenal, Chiliz. That's an amazing. There was a couple trades there just in the last 6 weeks, but this explosion move, one of my takeaways really, I get into another situation like that, I'm pulling the trigger. I said that when we started today. I'll take profits. I'll leave money on the table because, like the SHIB move, when it got up to 8,000, 8,500, Coinbase crashed. People couldn't get out. Fact of life. It's what's it happens, but really quick, let me bring this back up. Yeah, I'm out of SHIB. I mentioned that earlier, and I'm not touching that. And I don't think those are, again, those are the victim of market cap. Thursday. Let's come back to that Thursday. I do want to get to, yeah, that's amazing. Look at that run. Crude oil today, folks. Let's look at the Brent chart, UK Brent. And let me get wrapped up here. Go about 5 more minutes. We'll be back on Thursday at 11. And I'll have more information to share at that time. I mean, it's again, slow rollout with all of this stuff. Crude oil on the daily is back testing this 80 level, or most likely will. We have a number of larger pattern structures, but since this ABCD, we talked about this summer. Look, this is the other market, the other sector really have been hitting the table on crude oil, natural gas, and other related energy markets. This, since that ABC absolutely blasting off, look at the weekly charts. Okay, since the massive crab pattern that set this off last year, we have just continued to move higher. Now, here is our target 2, and we've blown through this. So this is a unique type 1 explosion. I also talked about this, I think, what was it, last Friday maybe, about why I thought this was the greatest capitulation of all time. Crude oil, when it went negative 40 on the futures, absolutely, I feel we'll never see that again. And if anything, that kind of overstated the collapse to such a degree that what I want everyone to think about is just the continuation of this uptrend until we go back and retest the all-time new highs. I have been saying since the beginning of the year that 80 was the target. If you go to light sweet crude CL chart, that's the other one. But I really want just people looking at and considering 120, 125, pretty much across the board. Your 886 move up here to retest. And I think this is something that happens next year. Get up to about 129, 130. It's going to probably take most of the year, but that's where we're going. I'm going to trace out something even better. Let's go to the monthly because it's a cleaner chart. If I can pull that up. Monthly. Now, again, the other thing we have talked a lot about this year with the Harmonic Pattern Collection software are the amazing monthly patterns that have materialized and then have been as accurate as 60-minute patterns. Just incredible. If we look at just this monthly back to back, these are auto-generated. Pretty safe to assume that we are in a full type 2. There's your type 1, came back down. Now type 2 minimum gets you to 96. And that's something, that target, I really stumbled across this maybe a week ago. I don't look at this market, this crude market too often. I look at light sweet, I'll look at the XLE. But this gives us a really nice objective. And we're week over week. I mean, this is month over month for 18 months. It's not stopping. Well, Cody, I'm going to do one better for you because, natural gas is the other market that at 240, I said we need to look at $5-6. And then I just continue to update that as we go along because I have a little experience, personal experience, maybe not like you, with some former associates up in North Dakota. And so I understand the situation. I understand the squeeze that can happen. There's a lot there where conditions can change rapidly. That's my point. Where you couldn't give away natural gas just a couple years ago, natural gas is now going to become a valued commodity that historically on the charts has a long way to go. So today we're up 5%. We're rebounding. Here's our monthly nat gas chart. That's a front month. And recall that a couple things up here that I've pointed out on the other harmonic pattern collection program. Well, I think it's a weekly as well. We have some big numbers at around 16. 15, 16 as what I think is going to be one of those big looping historic retests. Come all the way back. We're busting out of this area with that larger pattern sitting up at as high as 15. Psychologically, most people are maybe entertaining thoughts of 10. Let's take a look at the weekly, because these are some of the patterns that clued us in on the move at least up to 550 or 6. Let me bring this up. And we're up there now. So you got the 2018, we had an ABCD up here around 480, 511. Go back as far as like 2015, 14, maybe a couple levels around 670. Essentially, you want to look around above, certainly above that 5 area, $6 handle. Has been our first objective on all of this. Now, can we get this as a return trade? We have HSI on the weekly. Maybe we pause right now or go sideways. It's been quite strong, and the fact we have another 5% up day, something I'm not taking my eye off this. I feel like maybe this pauses, and you've got December, January, February. Those are big nat gas months where we let some pressure out for now. But I don't see this thing dipping much below. If it comes back down to 5, it's probably the area where you look to get for the continuation. Or even better, we get some kind of bullish pattern that materializes up here on top of this failed pattern. Basically that $5 level. One of the vehicles that we have been in for a while, which is Boyle, that's been up and down, just getting slammed between 60 and 80. Come on back. There you go. Up 4 and change at 63. A lot of people asking me if this is a head and shoulders top. I don't think so. Let me go to the 4-hour time frame. Is a bit better. I think like nat gas, we're just in another pause phase. Where's the, sorry, let me get to hourly time frame. This is the third time we have bounced off the 60 level. Last 2 times we've gone back to target 2. This was the pattern I wanted to bring up. Hop at around 55. Let me increase the size here. Boyle is this, I think it's a double ETF for nat gas. So the contract has to move. The front month has to have days like today, plus 4 or 5%. Where the front month surges, that's where you get the volatility. You get the aggressive moves up in Boyle. I think right now we still want to look to trade this. We did a big move, got all the way almost to 100. But it was only the type 1 reaction, came all the way back down. I said again back in mid-October, that was another buy point. We come back. Your target 2 off of that small pattern all the way back there kind of frames it out like this, where, all right, above 75 for now. Short-term resistance, somewhere in this 55, 56 area. I'm looking for another entry for this to continue, nat gas to do get going again, I think it's just going to take some time. A lot of these are absolutely surging. Here's some standard integrateds, Chevron. And remember the big patterns these came off of? They got clobbered when oil went to minus 40. But once they completed those patterns, they took off. Exxon Mobil was probably the best of the bunch. So this is critical because if we're going to get the markets to continue this insane move, you need energy to go. That's probably the biggest point of looking at the larger pattern framework, how this all fits together. If you're going to see the market surge, which I think you will in a larger kind of overspill move, then crude oil goes higher. Here's ExxonMobil on the monthly. And for those that are new with the software, I know a lot of the regulars already are scanning these monthly charts, but take a look at monthly. Go through integrated oils, go through the whole sector. You're going to see a lot of things like this coming off of big patterns. This is a type 1 reaction. Now, I am looking at Exxon as kind of the role model, the leader for the whole group. And $80 is just the most important number in any market at the moment. We want to see what happens here going into the end of the year with ExxonMobil. We continue higher, we fail these highs, then we go to target 2. And we'll get that move now into January. Otherwise, it'll probably take most of the next year, but you really just want to get to 100 and then see what happens. I want to look at one other thing really quick. I want to bring up, bring back that volume 3 illustration and just kind of wrap up with this. We always want to be expecting this reaction, folks, off of the type 1 move. Especially we measure our patterns properly. A lot of times that's maybe 1-2 bars and it gets going. The type 2 return move and real validation of the type 2 as an opportunity it depends on a few other elements that we want to see. And I know not everyone will look at RSI, not everyone will look at an indicator, but I do want to stress the importance of understanding how critical that factors into really knowing where exactly to locate your trade. Do we do it right at the zone? Do we do it after it does some consolidation? Because the only way to really tell is waiting for that trigger. Let me go to, let me just pop up here. Let me go to the XLE here. Let me go to the daily. Take a look at this. So XLE, another bearish pattern, looking for a pause. But how do we know? It might even seem confusing. You've got a couple patterns overlapping each other at the moment. You've got a shark and a smaller crab, but they're all pretty much pointing into this 56 area, maybe 55. But where in that zone? Forget the rest of all of the drawings. I'll even just kind of make it simple that we're looking at this zone. How do we know exactly where and when in that zone this pattern is going to give us anything? And that's where the indicator analysis, again, if it's a type 1 or type 2, extremely helpful. I prefer utilizing indicator confirmation for both, but for type 2, it's mandatory. And we want to be seeing indicators that come up, have an extreme. They're really what they are is oscillators because they go 0 to 100. Whatever that relative measure is, once you get 100, you expect some kind of reaction, some kind of pause in whatever that predominant trend is. And until we can come back down and get another oversold signal, we can't expect that trend to continue. We're still in a pause. The fact that we have the indicator confirmation, that's the trigger. That's what makes some kind of random structure something, of worth to consider as an opportunity. It's so important to get the levels right. I'll show it. Let me circle back really quick with Ethereum, because that has and we're now above 4,500 on Ethereum, breaking out to all-time new highs. So here you go. Beautiful. One of the reasons why I did tweet this earlier today, and again, it's a good note to leave on. So Ethereum, we've been talking about this bearish Gartley for the last, I don't know, 3 days. Fitting right within type 1, type 2, even had the hop level. Again, retesting. There's your confirmation. That would be your trigger for the type 2. And it's supposed to come down. We expect it to go to target 2. But in this case, look what happens. You do get a reaction, you get some movement, but no follow through. And the other way that we look at it is what happens within 30 bars after that trigger. It should be down here. You had a nice move. I mean, you could definitely manage that, and that's a 4-hour chart. So you're talking about this unfolding over 2 days, 3 days, but you're not sitting on your hands in any instance. You wait for the trigger, you get it. But you still have to manage that. We look for target 2. It didn't work out, even with the confirmation. But that's the kind of loss or kind of, failed opportunity, I guess, you're going to see. If you sit on your hands and you don't take action when it doesn't work out, yeah, the patterns are not going to work for you. And especially on the type 2 failures, because that's where you get your larger continuations. And I'm going to leave it there. I think maybe Thursday we come when we start talking about failures, because Ethereum is failing this Gartley right now. And as I mentioned, all the targets and how you measure this, default this on your higher time frames, say that this is going to do its 1618 now. So let's leave it there. But stay tuned. We'll come back Thursday at 11 o'clock. We'll see if we get up to that 1618 by then. Appreciate it. So thanks, everybody. Again, we're going to get this going. Next several weeks, I'm going to still keep it casual. But if you have questions and you want to get a part of the whole program, go become a basic member. Go follow all that information and take this time to really get a leg up, so that when I'm fully launched and ready to open up this beyond the existing members, you guys are ready too. I think we have a sweet spot of now until January to really work it, and then we'll see where we're at. But until then, we're going to go get them. So thanks again. We'll see you folks Thursday. Have a great one. And again, go get them.